I'm Emma Meshell with campusreform.org. We have a very special guest here with us today, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina. Senator, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Emma, for having us.
We are going to be discussing today some issues that are pressing right now. At Campus Reform, we cover liberal bias and abuse on college campuses, which can take a lot of different forms. One thing that I think would be very interesting for us to discuss is your recent legislation that you have proposed, your Antisemitism Awareness Act.
Absolutely.
Could you please tell us a bit about that?
Yes, certainly. So today on college campuses, there's really no definition of anti-Semitism. We've tried to adopt a definition that's consistently being used throughout government on the definition of anti-Semitism and to apply it to the Department of Education so as to hopefully confront some of the challenges on college campuses today. If you look at the last just 3 years, from 2016 to 2018, there's been a 100% increase in anti-Semitism on college campuses. So we're trying to combat that and hopefully send a message on who we are as Americans, and let's start on college campuses.
It's a very worthwhile effort, I believe. And also in your home state of South Carolina,
Yes.
There is a law on the books that says that public universities that receive taxpayer funds need to teach the founding documents like the Federalist Papers, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. There is a school, University of South Carolina, that has made headlines for refusing to comply with that law. And I was wondering, do you believe that this is an effective method to get college students involved and get them a good understanding of what it means to practice civics in America?
It certainly is a great place to start the debate. I mean, bottom line is that we as Americans have inherited something I call the advanced citizenship. We are the leading superpower in the world for a reason. Understanding that foundation only allows for you to work throughout this world in a way that spreads the values of the American people and our nation in the most effective way. So understanding the founding principles that have guided us for 243 years is incredibly important to get that foundation right. I'm a big believer that if you build a foundation on a rock, it withstands the storms that come. If you build it on sand, it won't and can't. And knowing your foundation, knowing your history is an important part of the equation.
Absolutely. And do you believe that if students really take on a stronger understanding of those principles, that we would possibly see fewer incidents like the anti-Semitism incidents we've seen on campus?
Absolutely. You know, part of our challenge is to live up to our founding fathers' tenets as it relates to principles of who we should be, how we should govern ourselves. So the concept of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness really starts with the fact that you have to respect people who are not like you.
Yes.
That's a fascinating concept that is not worldwide. It's unique unto the American psyche, the American identity. And I hope that we embrace that concept so that we all appreciate and respect each other. We don't have to agree with one another, but we do have to learn to respect each other. This human experiment in America is proven to be the most amazing transformational experience the world has ever seen.
Yes.
For it to continue, we need our college students, our future leaders, embracing the concepts that were a part of our foundation. And frankly, even our founding fathers had to struggle with those founding principles. I think back to Frederick Douglass and his struggle for being 100% man because of our Constitution. The one thing he didn't do was disregard or discard our founding documents. He actually went to the Constitution and fought for the inclusion that he wanted for all African Americans based on the Constitution that we were all created equally, our founding documents that we were all created equally, and that inherent upon being an American was this notion of equality throughout all mankind. We didn't always live up to that, but it was because we had founding documents that allowed us to take a look at what we were doing versus who we said we were. We found our path forward, and because of that struggle, based on the founding documents, we find ourselves as the healthiest, so to speak, country on earth.
Yes, and I think those things have really set us apart throughout history.
Indeed.
And inspired so many great things around the world. And kind of on that note, I would love to ask you, do you have a message to conservative students on campus who may feel like they are an intellectual minority, that their opinions have no place on campus? What would you like to say to them?
Well, obviously, having a chance to get to know you just for a few minutes here, Emma, the future is very bright. When we have conservative-minded, talented individuals willing to fight the good fight of faith, we are going to be an exceptional country for generations to come. The thing I'd say to the current leaders on college campuses, keep dreaming big dreams, keep fighting the big fights, because what's actually happening is that when we fight, and I'd say it this way, we are starving for civility in the public forum. We really are starving for that civility. I think we are sincerely thirsty for an objective standard, and so many people are now disillusioned about an absolute truth. It's the current college students, if they can articulate in a civil way conservative principles, if we can help people understand the objective standard that those principles are based on, and if we can encourage people to think through absolute truths, we find ourselves engaging in a public and civil debate that allows both sides to come to the table. And when that happens, our conservative principles win every time. It's when you have an environment that is so corrosive and toxic that you don't have the opportunity to engage the other side about the principles that undergird their story, that we lose. But when we do it in a way that allows for there to be an actual open debate and discussion, Katie, bar the door. You're probably too young to know what that means, but it's amazing.
Amen.
I think we'll be okay.
Those are words to live by. Senator, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion.
Thank you. Absolutely, Emma.
I'm Cabot Phillips with Campus Reform. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to donate to help us make more videos just like that, you can click right here. And if you want to be the first person to see all of our new content, click the subscribe button right here. Please click one of them. Doesn't have to be both. One or the other. Okay.